Saudara, do you know what every prisoner longs for? You must know. Getting out, regaining one's freedom, living among friends, relatives, and fellow human beings. For you, maybe these words getting out don't arouse any impressions whatsoever. But for prisoners and former prisoners, how sweetly stirring these words are. They have the same magical power as the national anthem. And today, Saudara, is the day I am released. You're being released. Gather together all your gear. Okay. Freedom, yeah! Don't forget the prison, don't forget the struggle. Cheese tastes good, bang. And condensed milk makes you blind. Oh, secure box. For nearly 2 years, I have been caged inside you. No, Saudara. I couldn't bear to look again. Freedom. I walked slowly, and all of a sudden, my heart became terribly sad. I used to believe that sadness only arises when people's passions are not satisfied. But this time, on the contrary, I became sad as my desires were satisfied, in a big way. And in my ears rang the shouts of my friends, which always rang out to compatriots who were released. Saudara, you know what I did after that? Here's what happened first. I ate satay at Pasar Jatinegara as much as I could hold, and I paid the bill with a pair of shorts. My second desire was satisfied. Then this. I went to a jeweler's and sold my wedding ring. I had no choice, Saudara. If a ship is hit by a storm, a person can't feel sentimental about losing the mainmast. After that, the books that I love floated away too. And finally, I went to the ticket window, bought a ticket, hopped on a train. I traveled, Saudara, heading towards the town of my birth, BLORA. BLORA, Saudara, and I had arrived, and just here my story begins. At first, what I saw was this, the ruined station, and this had been demolished by the Amir's forces when they were attacked by the TN-1. In front of a station stood rows of buildings owned by Chinese. All of these too had been completely demolished by American bullets. But I didn't care who had done it. The passengers lined up to go outside, and at the exit, I saw Ina. You don't know Ina yet, Saudara. She was the most beautiful girl in my kampung, and also the most arrogant. You know why she was arrogant too? Because she was terribly pretty, and she rejected my proposal. Yes, she answered my letter, but her response, Saudara, was advice. Nothing but advice. But now she wasn't Miss Pretty like before. She had gone soft, and her body was frail. The white powder on her face was thick, and her lips were as red as a cock's comb. Her hair was thin, her eyes wild, and her behavior flirtatious. The flat bag still rubbed up and down on my back, and the only thing I was carrying was a red half-rupee note. Suddenly, she roared with laughter. The bitch! I was being laughed at, and suddenly too, I got angry. I stopped, turned my body around, and she was already being fondled by a soldier. It occurred to me to carry her away, to join in helping guide her back to the world of goodness. And she was still tangled in the fondling embrace of the cat-eyed soldier. Her loud laughter faded, her happy wriggling faded, and her dimmed eyes staring at me. She struggled hard to free herself from his embrace. As a result of my concern, I got a kick in the groin.
Don't blame me for becoming like this.
Suddenly, Ina was pulled to his chest. Her legs were lifted up, and she struggled harder. She realized her own predicament, the battlefield of a life that she hated, but that she had to enter, and the soldier's chest was covered by Ina's body. A question suddenly came to me, Saudara. Who is it that actually owns a human life? Clearly humans don't own human life. Clearly humans don't own their own lives. And who was it that owned Ina's life? I was not able to answer, Saudara. Everywhere, prisoner weakens his stamina to think. Answer for yourself, Saudara.
Agus! Agus! You're still alive, Gus? I knew you were still alive.
Who are you, Granny?
Gus, you don't care to know me anymore? I am your grandmother.
My grandmother. And again I was overcome with emotion. Yes, my grandmother was as dwarfish as that. I hugged her warmly, at the side of the road near the station. Then we walked. Just walked. Her hand did not let go of me. We stopped at the cemetery where Mother was buried, a cemetery that wasn't as well kept as before. If what I had seen so far was this horrible, it was quite easy to guess what condition my home was in. And you can guess for yourself, Saudara. A regiment of the Dutch Indies Army ran for their lives when one Japanese section landed at Lasem. Then a fierce battle took place. But what was attacked were the gasoline tanks around BLORA, and the Japanese entered safely, and my mother died 2 months later. Reality taught her that appointments cannot be made by defeated governments. In that same year, month, day, hour and minute, my younger sister followed her to eternity. Boo, your son has come. And I imagined my mother musing while she sat under the front awning with her thin hair blowing in the breeze. At that time, I was 17 years old, and I said, Boo, can I have a ring?
What more do you ask from me? I'm just waiting for death, Mook.
And a month later, Mother died. Since then, I've never asked for anything. Saudara, my younger brothers and sisters, and all my relatives call me Mook. Safe. Always be safe. The town was quite deserted. The further we got into the kampung, the more frequently we ran into little kids. Finally, we passed my old school, Budi Otomo. To pass 7th grade, I had sat on that bench for 10 years. Now, the school was not owned by my father any longer. My father had put it at the disposal of the Japanese, and no longer was it the name Budi Otomo that was displayed there. As time changed, conditions change. From a distance, the hedges around my yard loomed up, turned yellow, but the roof of my house was gone, and the thought entered my head. The communists were the one who had burned it. My father was anti-communist. I had asked him, Pak, what would happen if education in Indonesia were adapted to the education system in Russia? What would happen? Just take Indonesia to Russia, and then you'll find out for yourself.
Gus, that's your little brother.
Who? Juk? Juk! Why are you limping, Juk?
Father said it was eaten away by a boil, Mas. Bakun soaks my foot in salt water every day. Then I can walk a little bit. But now I have to limp. Can you make it better, Mas? Did you bring medicine, Mas? Surely you brought medicine. Once, you came back and bought me a goat. Now that goat is gone, Mas. Bakun said it was eaten by a civet. Are you going to buy me another, Mas? You will, won't you, Mas?
Of course.
Mas, you've brought medicine now, haven't you? They call me the cripple. I don't like it, Mas, but they call me that anyway. If you're here, I bet they won't dare to anymore. Right, Mas? They won't dare anymore, right? You'll beat them up for sure. Like when you beat up Mas Slick because he wouldn't bathe. But I always bathe, Mas. You brought medicine, right, Mas?
Yeah, I brought medicine.
I knew it. You must have brought medicine.
What grade are you in, Teok?
I'm not going to school, Mas. Father says I'm a crybaby. I'm not a crybaby, am I, Mas? I'm not a crybaby, am I?
No, no.
In that case, I can go with you to Jakarta, right? Ride in a car and see Pasar Gambir, right, Mas? I can go along to Jakarta, right?
Of course you can.
I knew it. Sure I can. Where is your car now, Mas? Taken by the Japanese? I keep asking Father. You haven't come home for such a long time. Father said you were captured by Nika. You weren't captured, were you? You're brave, aren't you?
No, I wasn't captured.
Your car wasn't taken by Nika, was it?
No.
I knew it. Father lied.
You still like to sing, Teok?
I'm not allowed, Mas.
Who says you can't? You used to like singing in the jambu tree.
They all forbid me to sing, and the jumbo tree was burnt down by the communist, Mas. Now you've come. I must be allowed to sing again. Mas, Bakun said if I sing from the west to the east, Nika will come from the west and the east and burn my hurt foot. Not anymore now. I can sing again, can't I, Mas? From the west to...
Shh, no, don't cry.
You won't let me either, Mas. I want to go home by myself. I want to look for my chicken. Don't carry me. You're Nika, Mas. You're Nika.
No, Teok, later on I'll put some medicine on your foot. When you're all well, then you can sing again.
You'll teach me the ABC later, right, Mas? Like before when you taught Bakus? But you won't rap me on the head with a spoon, will you? And I can go along to Jakarta and ride in a car, right, Mas? And see ships.
Hey, is Mbako still going to school, Teok?
There isn't anyone going to school anymore now, Mas. Bakus come home from Pati on foot. She said there wasn't any schooling anymore.
Where's Maslik, Teok?
Taken away by Nika, Mas. The man said he was a pemuda.
Father?
Father's underneath the dua tree.
That tree wasn't burnt?
No, Mas. Father's just there, Mas. Writing and reciting verses.
Reciting what?
Permadi and Sabudro, Mas. And just writing until late at night. He's coming again, Mas. The Tuan. He always comes here. I am often given candy and he likes talking with Bakus. Father doesn't like it. He's happy under the dua tree, just writing and reciting. And when the Tuan comes, Bakus runs to the back and cries. And I cry too.
Why do you cry, Teok?
You never came, Mas. And they said that Tuan wants to take Bakus far away, really far away. That's her, Bakus, Mas. Bakus! Bakus! Masmuk has come!
You've come, Mas. You were in prison for such a long time. You're really thin, Mas. The house was burned down. You don't have a room anymore. And the books that you sent, all of them have been snatched by Mas too.
Who's Mastu?
The friend I used to play music with.
Why were they taken?
Because you and Maswit are army.
He's Nika?
Communist. I can't study anymore, Mas. Oh, how skinny your arms are. You still like eating nasi jagung, Mas?
Still do. Olu Elmuk. Blessings, Father.
Masmuk, your letter through the Red Cross. I got it a year ago.
Why didn't you answer?
I wrote 15 times, but no more letters came from you anymore.
I never got them. Why did you let grandmother become a beggar?
Mas, we eat only from the corn plants grown in the yard, which isn't that big. Your little brothers and sisters are the ones who work it. Father just writes under the tree and doesn't move from there if the sun hasn't set. I mean, I don't want to force Father to hoe the ground. In fact, when a Dutch lieutenant came here to offer him the position of educational officer for the residency of Pati, I was also the one who told them, Father is already old. I won't allow him to work anymore. Because of that, our income has been very small and food has to be divided as evenly as possible. And grandmother stole Chuk's portion. I scolded her and she left. The kids said grandmother had become a beggar at the station. I told them to bring her home, but grandmother refused. I myself urged her to come home, and she said, I don't want to go home. I'm waiting for Gusmuk. And I said, Masmuk isn't coming home. He's been captured by Nika. But she didn't pay any attention and kept waiting at the station.
Grandma.
Mas, Eat with grandmother.
Where's your husband, Kun? Kun, where's your husband?
He has never come back, Mas. I don't know. There isn't any news.
Liar! Last night, he came carrying a rifle. Mas, I'm not lying. Mas Juice came last night carrying a rifle and a grenade. I saw him myself, Mas. I'm not lying. When I asked him where he was going, Bakun wrapped me up with her kain. And I cried. When I woke up, I was scared, Mas. I was really scared. There's war there. I don't know where. But I wasn't wrapped up anymore and Bakun was chanting prayers. Just chanting. Bakum too. And Bakus too. Father came and held me tight.
Kun, you don't trust me?
Mas, I don't like it here. I'm not allowed to sing. I'm not allowed to play far away. If I talk with anyone, Bakun shuts my mouth. Mas, I just want to go along to Jakarta. There, I'll be allowed to sing and to play and talk with you, right? I'm scared of war. In Jakarta, there isn't any, right?
Yeah. Later on, I'll take you.
You feel the bitterness of a man from Nika's prisons, don't you, Mas? But your conviction isn't swayed, is it? And you won't betray us, will you?
Why are you wounding yourself?
To find out, Mas, if it hurts or not.
Of course it hurts.
And I'm willing to suffer the pain from this knife. I'm willing for you to peel off my skin and kill me before you are killed by Bakun and Bakum, if it turns out you are a traitor.
If I become a traitor, I am ready for all of you to kill me. I have already suffered a great deal. All you've said is, I don't trust you, and I'm going to kill you.
He's already been here a week, Mas. He just sits there. He doesn't want to talk. Sometimes he tells me to get paper and pen and ink, but he doesn't want to talk. Rather than you making a sacrifice like that, it's better. If you really are a traitor, just to kill us all, your hand already holds the knife, Masmuk.
I stood up and stepped closer. I extended my hand, and my greeting was accepted. It felt like he was pulling me so that I would go closer. His hands fumbled with his threadbare shirt. He undid its buttons. He opened it, and I noticed inside a soldier's uniform. On the flap of his pocket was pinned a badge with the rank Sergeant Major of the Army. I was startled enough to explode. How could I not notice it, Saudara? Even hard rocks are worn away by water. This was my oldest younger brother, Sergeant Major Witt, from the military police.
I know you're not a traitor, Masmuk. Even though my body has suffered the curses of war, I could easily kill you. I'm a marksman. If from a distance of 10 meters, I can hit the tip of your index finger, even if you're walking.
You're not afraid to carry a weapon in an area that's surrounded?
If I've already sworn the soldier's oath, why should I be afraid to wear a military uniform and carry a weapon? And all of my younger brothers have sworn the same oath, and here I am, waiting for the final battle.
With that lady's pistol?
My weapon is efficient, Masmuk. I have 3 grenades on me, and within a radius of 1 kilometer, my troops are still ready. Duke has to be killed. He is of no use. He can easily endanger us all. Tonight you must take him to the Lucy and slaughter him. I'm the commander in this area. You have to carry out my orders.
Mas, let's go to Jakarta, Mas. Right now.
Do you hear me, Masmuk? Everything alive and dead within 1 kilometer's radius is in my hands. I'll have my revenge. I used to be a man full of compassion. I used to admire beauty. But those bastards make me like this, and my face was doused with acid. And I've learned not to hesitate to do just the same thing. You must carry out my orders. Human love only comes from habit. So when he dies, he'll be easy to replace. People like to make children. They don't have to be ordered to, so get rid of any love and pity.
The people's blood has begun to flow, suffering, pain, and poverty. Now retribution is coming. We are now the judges. We are now the judges. Mas, I can sing, can I?
Gusmo, you're safe and sound. You've come back here. Let me go. Go away again. I don't want to become a burden.
Where will you go, Grandma? You're not happy here?
Why do I have to be here, Gus? People who tie themselves to a place they don't like are as stupid as animals.
Where are you going, Masmuk?
To look for father. I still haven't spoken to him at any length.
Have I given permission?
Do we have to follow your orders in everything?
In everything. Your life isn't worth a cent compared to the thousands of innocent people living in the mountains and isolated villages who must die for hostages. If you leave this place before getting my orders, you may be the cause of hundreds of people's deaths here. Understand?
I'm still a soldier. I still have the right to my lieutenant's rank. You are not allowed to give orders as you please. Soldiers who have been captured and held prisoner no longer have any self-respect. And you now have come to my home as a guest. And guests have to obey the rules of their hosts. Understand?
Masmuk, I had a dream once. Bakun had lots of money, lots and lots. And there was a man saying, "Be careful where you keep that money," he said. "If it is taken by those bastards, the breath of our resistance will die."
Masmuk, the time has come. His mouth has to be shut. He'll be the cause of a disaster. To them. One. Oh. Two. Three.
Now, you're going to kill me too?
You're still of use to me. A patrol's coming. Cover Chuk with corn.
Coucher! Coucher!
Go. Stand guard.